Welcome to the Dynasty Football Key. Today we're doing a 2024 wide receiver tier list. So let's get into it. Okay, so to start, going with Justin Jefferson. This guy has been a consistently great wide receiver since he's entered the league. This past season was his first season dealing with an injury. I have no reason to think he won't bounce back in 2024. I've got Jamar Chase right next to him. Jamar is really one of the most athletic wide receivers in the league and shown from an early age that he can produce and help his team get even all the way to the Super Bowl. He's going to get a long contract extension maybe this offseason. So I expect him to just continue to be successful, and he's very young and has got his whole career ahead of him still. Next, we're going with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb had another great season. Don't want to say this is the breakout season, but this was a massive season and really did put him in the category as one of the top receivers in the NFL. I think he can continue to do that. The team may decide to add some more talent since their number 2 receiver was Brandon Cooks, who's a little bit older. I just don't think a rookie is going to eat into his target share anytime soon, and he as well as getting a contract extension. So all of these guys seem to be in a really safe position here going forward. Next, I really want to try to make sure that I'm not drafting Puka too early. He'll be in this tier. I'm taking Amon-Ra ahead of him because Amon-Ra has just shown that he's that number 1 wide receiver. But Puka is really good and shown that he can play. Still, I would take Marvin Harrison Jr. ahead of him. I like Marvin Harrison's ability to potentially climb into that next tier above. It is harder for me to imagine Puka to year after year do what some of the receivers ahead of him have done, but that probably is just still some bias from him being a very late round draft pick. Just like with Amon-Ra, Amon-Ra has shown that he can produce even though he was a late round draft pick. So we shouldn't hold that too much against these guys for too long. I think it's time to give them their credit. And these are absolutely really great players and wide receivers. Still, though, in this same tier, I've got Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson got so many targets. He showed that he can be a target magnet. Just had quarterback issues his whole career. He's getting Aaron Rodgers this season. Let's see if that helps. But I could say in years from now, when Rodgers is long gone, Garrett Wilson's still going to be really good at football. So I'm not too worried about where the next quarterback comes from. I think he can produce. I've got AJ Brown in this tier as well because he is a steady producer. He's just now starting getting to the older wide receiver range, but he's got great NFL knowledge combined with rare size speed, so where it's hard for guys to keep up with him and hard for them to tackle him. He's just a really good wide receiver, so we don't want to get bored with AJ Brown. And some think that the quarterback play may not be as great as some of the others, but he's better than Garrett Wilson's, and he himself is really good. Next, I'm going to take Chris Olave. He's a wide receiver wide receiver 1 in his offense. I think with his age and the fact that he's shown from an early age that he can be a top guy, just a really good future ahead of him. Really like Chris Olave. Maybe that's the end of the tier. Maybe someone would have him in the tier below. Let me know what you think. Here I'm going to have Malik Neighbors. I'm struggling with where to place him. For now, I'm actually going to place him in this A tier. I do think he's going to end up being a number 1 target on an offense. Really good player. Very young at this point, so it's hard not to want to hit the button to draft him. Tyreek Hill in the next tier. He's going to outscore a lot of the people ahead of him. But he had already announced that he's going to retire at the end of this contract, which has 2 years remaining. So even if you play in 2 to 3 year windows, this is Dynasty. Any Dynasty player should be looking ahead and actually looking to try to capitalize and make a trade if you're not that win now team, to see what you can get to make sure you can build for the future. Still, he's really good. I think later in the season they had a little more struggles when they went on the road for cold weather games, even though he played in Kansas City in the revenge game at Kansas City in the snow. They were just ineffective. And it's not just Tyreek. The quarterback has to be able to adapt to the snow as well. There's just a lot of factors to where long term Tyreek Hill is not a long-term dynasty asset that I want. And next I've got Brandon Ayuk. I can see him being on a new team, and he has been a number 2 for many years. It was San Francisco, and has been producing more like a number 1. And he might actually get an opportunity to become a number 1. We will see, but he's still only 25 years old versus Tyreek Hill at 30. So I think really good opportunity for him to actually ascend and be even better in the years coming forward. Same with Jalen Waddle. If Waddle takes over for Tyreek Hill, then he's basically the same type of player, but no one's Tyreek fast, but Waddle is really, really right there, and only 25 years old. Next tier, I've got Drake London. This is a really big body wide receiver. We just need to see if they can get some quarterback play so we can get a good view at what he looks like in a good offense. They got new coaching as well. All of that can be really advantageous for these guys going into this next season. And in this tier, this is a player who's been producing steadily. Devonta Smith from the Eagles. Just cannot sleep on this player. He's really good in a complementary role. Whenever AJ Brown goes down, he gets a good boost as well. Next in this tier, I've got DJ Moore. He was athletically the Jamar Chase before Jamar Chase, and he still has a lot of those athletic gifts. And he came into the league very, very young. Right now, many years later, he's only 26, so still has a lot of his prime left, and may have a new quarterback throwing the ball to him. And his previous quarterback, really did not, lead the league at any point in passing metrics. So he's got an opportunity for an upgrade there coming soon. Next, I've got Nico Collins, who really broke out this season with CJ Stroud and will continue to be tied to CJ Stroud. So I'll go ahead and throw Tank Dell in there as well. These two guys have a great quarterback throwing the ball to them, and I like that opportunity. I'd still probably take Michael Pittman Jr. over them. Pittman is a really good player. Sure-handed. He's going to get a contract extension this offseason. Really been the focal point of the offense since he joined the Colts. Next, I have Jordan Addison. Just a tier down. He showed that he could step up when Jefferson went down. I don't expect that to happen all the time. When all those weapons are healthy, he doesn't get as much focus, but it was just his rookie season, and it was a great rookie season. And TJ Hawkinson does have a significant ligament tear in his knee. I should say multi-ligament tear in his knee. So not everyone is healthy, and Jordan Addison's going to have more responsibility placed on him in this upcoming season. Right in there is Rashee Rice. Pick where you want to put him. If you have him ahead of Jordan Addison, he really started to get better at the end of the year, just continuing to build that momentum and chemistry with Patrick Mahomes. T. Higgins, he could be in the tier higher. He ended up the Bengals put the franchise tag on T. Higgins a couple days ago. So he's not going anywhere yet, but we do think he'll be on a new team in 2025. So I can see him climbing up once he gets that wide receiver 1 role. We'll see who the wide receiver 3 is on the Bengals, but it has seemed that they use the 3 wide receiver sets all the time, or not all the time, but a lot. And Higgins' numbers just aren't always consistent week to week for our lineups. So that's been the tough part there. And yeah, I would put some of these other players here in this range. The 2 Seahawks players, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Zay Flowers. I'll have Rome Odunze here. I think he can lead an offense. Stephon Diggs, he's still going to be in the league, still playing. And Keenan Allen was one of the top receivers in the league, even at his age. So if you just need one more year, you can use Keenan Allen. But those are my top 25 in tiers. Let me know what you think. Who are you pushing up higher or lower? Who did I leave off? Are there any other rookies that you would have in the top 25 wide receivers? Let me know, and I hope to see you in the next video.